Hello, sir. I'm Shen Hao. This is Gameverse, which allow users to discover and browse their favorite game. This website utilizes two API key. So let us go through the backend environment files. So the website use MongoDB as the database to store the user data and use the route API key to display all the game's details, which is this all. This all game part is from route API key. So the news data API key is to display the news, which is this. So the user can browse the news that related with games. So the port is set to 5000 so that the backend Express can run on it. The node environment is set to development to enable reverse login and debugging. So let us go back to our front end. When user first time enter to this website, it will come to this page, which is home page. The user can see all the game card here, the details like the release date of the game, the genres of the game, and the available platform of the game. So let us go to the register page first. So let us click on the login button here. This is the login form. So if the user want to create an account, they have to click on the register here button. This is the register form. So if the user click the invalid email here, it will show the error message. So if we re-enter the wrong password, it will also show the error message. Once we successfully create an account, it will navigate us to the user login page. So let us check if the account is successfully created and the information is successfully saved in the data. Yeah, the information is successfully saved into the MongoDB. So it will save the ID uh, and the email, the username, and the password. The password is encrypted. The password is encrypted. I will save the favorite, game the favorite before, and the account created date and updated date. So let us go to the code for the register page. This is the code for the register page. I use the use state hood to manage multiple pieces of state. So the form data is used to store the user input, which is email, username, password, and confirm password. The show password and show confirm password is used to toggle the visibility of password. And the error and success is used to display the feedback message. The is loading is disables the form during submission to prevent double clicking. So before the form is submitted, I run the validate form function to ensure the password is matched. The password is at least 6 characters long. The email is valid and the username is at least 3 characters long. So if any of these check it fail, an error message will display and submission is stopped. When the user submit the form, the handler's submit function runs. It prevents the default from behavior and runs validate. It will send post to the backend, which is API register, and sends the user email, username, and password in JSON format. So since we mentioned the backend API register, let us go to our server files in backend. This server is built using Node.js with Express, and it handles all key functionality, including user registration, login, JWT-based authentication, favorite management, and MongoDB data storage. So the Express is web server framework, and the Mongoose is interacting with MongoDB, Decrypt.js for securely hashing password, JSON Web Token for generating and verifying authentication tokens. Cross is to enable requests from front end. .env is logs environment variable. So I connect to MongoDB Atlas using a securely URI stored in backend environment file, which is this link. Okay. It will display a success or error message upon connecting. This is a user schema that's stored in the MongoDB, which is this. So the email is required and unique and in lowercase and is validated. The username is have a minimum length of 3 characters and maximum length of 50 characters. The password is required and with the minimum characters length of 6, and the favorite is an array of game IDs. And this is the create, add, and update add fields. So since we just now mentioned about the register, let's go through to the register first. So this is the registration route. So in this route, it will check if all the fields is filled, and will validate the email and the password, and validate the user name, and check if the email is already exists, so that it will hash the password and create new user in the MongoDB and send the successfully message to the user. So let us go to the login page. This is the login page. Let us fill in the email we created just now. Sorry. So this is the home page. So if the user log in with the credentials, it will show the username here. It's a clickable username. It's a clickable text button. So in the home page, you will see the discover game. You can click on and will show all the details here. And when we hover to a game card, it will expand it and show the release date, genres of the game, and the platform of the game. If I search the game from here, it will show the game. Yeah, they have a sort feature here. You can sort the game by top rated. It will show the game by the rating. Newest will show the game by the release date, the newest release date. The oldest one, it will show the oldest release date game. And by the name, it will sort the game by its name. The relevance will show all the trending game. So let us go to the code for login page first. This is the code for login page. So the form data is used to store the user input for it, which is email and password. The show password is used to toggle the password visibility. The error is used to show the error message. The is loading is used to prevent multiple submission by disabling the form during login. I define handle change which update the form data as the user type. It also clears previous error message to ensure clean feedback. Before sending the login data to the server, it using the validate form function. This check if the email field is empty, if the email is incorrect, or if the password is empty. If any of these conditions fail, an error message is shown and submission is blocked. Once validation passed, the handle login function sends a post request to the backend login endpoint. If the login is successful, the backend returns user information and a token. These are saved in local storage to persist the season, including the token, username, email, and user ID. And it will navigate to home page. Since we mentioned the login endpoint, let us go to our backend server files and find out the login endpoint. Here is the login route. First of all is validation. I check if the email is and the password is filled and validate the email format. After that, find the user by email, compare submitted password with the hash one using decrypt compare. If valid, generates a JW token valid for 24 hours. returns user info and the token. This is the middleware to verify the AWT token. The function is to find the user using the ID from the token and returns email username and timestamp. I use red state to store important data. For example, games store the list of game fetched from the API. Hover card tracks which game is currently being hovered over, which helps us display a video or image carousels preview. This tree variable manage pagination, page for the current page, loading to prevent duplicate API calls, and has more to stop fetching when we reach the end. This reads favorite games from local storage so they persist across season. And similarly, the login username is stored locally and displayed in the top bar. This function sends a post request to my backend to either add or remove a game from the user favorite list and updates local storage accordingly. This is the core function to fetch game data from the raw API. It supports pagination, sorting, searching, and deduplication using set. This resets the page and game list when a new search is triggered. I add debounce search to reduce unnecessary API calls while the user is typing. This flags the top rate game to show in the discovery carousel. These games are visually displayed at the top of the homepage. I also added auto rotation so users see a new feature game every 4 seconds. When the user changes the sort option, the page resets and fetches a new sort list. And when the user scrolls to the bottom, page increases, which triggers more games to load. When the user hovers over card, this function fetches preview videos and screenshots for a more interactive experience. If the game has screenshot but no video, it cycles through image every 2 seconds. This section renders either the username dropdown with links to favorite and logout or login button if the user isn't signed in. That's all for me. Thank you.
Hi sir, my name is Lim Sheue Ying, so I'll continue to present. So this is the homepage of our website. And the main section displays a grid of game cards. So when we hover to the game cards, it will display more information into view. This includes the release date, genres, and the platform. So this title is clickable. When the user clicks, it will navigate the user to the game detail page. So at the top, we display a title and a high-resolution cover image. Scrolling down, we have screenshots of actual gameplay, and users can see the image through the thumbnail carousel. And next, we have a description about it explains the game story, world building, and what makes it stand out. And moving on, we also include the player reviews fetched from Rock API. At the right-hand side, we also showcase a dynamic rating breakdown bar sourced from Rock API 2. It shows the number of players who rated the game as recommended, meh, exceptional, or skip. Just below, we also list key data metadata for game rank, genre, year, platforms, release date, developer, publisher, and age rating. And below that, we also provide the system requirements for PC, separate into minimum and recommended specs. So next, the next function is the add to the favorite function. User can add the game to their favorite list by clicking on this button, add to favorite. And when the game is added to favorite, the database for favorite array will become 1. And users can see their favorite list by clicking on this button, favorite games, and the users will see their favorite games. Users can also remove the game from their favorite by clicking on this button. And the database will update the list and the array will become empty. Moving on, we have another function, which is the news function. We can press on this button. This news function is functional React component that fetches and displays the latest news related to PC games using the News Data I/O API. Users can click on it and read about the news through the API. Finally, when the users are done with the website, they can log out by clicking on this button. So now I'll be explaining about the code. For this part of the code, I started by extracting the game ID from the URL using the use param, and I used useState to manage the game details, media previews, user reviews, loading states, and which state system requirement tabs is active. I also use useref to scroll thumbnails into view. And for this part of the code, I used to fetch the game data, video screenshot and reviews from the ROC API. I use promise.all to run all 4 requests at once, which is efficient. Then I store them in a state render later. For this part of the code, it is used for clicking any thumbnail below. Previewing will update the main media and scroll the thumbnail smoothly to view it. And for this const strip HTML text, it is used for description and reviews come with raw HTML. So I use this function to strip text and display clean text. So const format review date is used to convert ISO date format to readable format. And the const get rating label and the const get rating color, it is used to map numeric review scores to label and colors. So now I'll be explaining the code for favorite game function. So this part of the code is used to import necessary packages and set up the states variable for managing favorite games, media content, and UI behavior. And moving on, this part of the code is used to fetch the current user favorite game IDs from the backend using the stored email from the local storage. Then it sends multiple requests to the ROC API to get the game's details. And for this part of the code, const fetch game media, it is used to fetch the gameplay videos and screenshot from the ROC API. When the user hovers over the game card, the data is stored in a separate state variable for each game. And for this part of the code, it is used to automatically change the screenshot every 2 seconds for the game that don't have video preview. And for this, const remove from favorite, this part of the code is used to remove a game from the user's favorite list. It sends a request to the backend and updates the UI by filtering and removing the game. For this code, const handle card cover, handle card leaf, handle game click. It is used to handle the mouse hover event and navigation to the game detail page. So now I'll be explaining about the news function for the code. This part of the code, it is defined into 2 pieces of state using useState. The article state stores the news data retrieved from the API, and the loading state tracks whether the data is still being fetched. So moving on, this section of the code uses the use effect hook to fetch news article when the component is first mounted. The function fetch news is declared inside the effect, and it uses ASIOS to send a GET request to the news data IO API. If successful, it stores the result in the article state. Whether the request succeeds or fails, it sets loading to false at the end. And lastly, for this code, the data is being fetched. We display a loading message. This provides visual feedback to user so they know the content is on the way. So now I'll be explaining about the environment file. For the HTTPS through, this enables HTTPS on our React development server instead of using the default HTTP localhost 300. And for the SSL certificate file and the SSL key file, these 2 lines define the path to our local SSL certificate and the private key files. They are used to create a self-signed certificate that allows us to serve our development app over HTTPS. And for the React backend URL, this variable stores the base URL of our backend server. Instead of hardcoding the backend URL in multiple places, we use this variable throughout the React code base. And for the React app ROC API key, we include our ROC API key, which allows us to fetch real-time videos, game data, including names, screenshots, video, and system requirements. Lastly, for the React app news data API key. This is our news data IO API key. We use it to fetch the latest game related news and updates. This is all for me. Thank you.